The YM2 program stands for Young Men Matter Too, and it's a program focused on reaching young men in the communities between Springfield and Holyoke and teaching them about sexual awareness, being safe, as well as teaching life skills, leadership, and developing a young man's character.
We build relationships, and so I go out into the community, to the schools. I serve several middle schools, and I recruit middle school youth, as well as working with my colleagues who work in the high schools to bring the youth to come to our outreach centers.
It's one thing to be in a school and to sit and stand by and watch kids as they learn, but it's another thing to pull those kids out of that situation and really get a chance to look deep down and find out who these young men are. Not all of them are athletes. Not all of them want to be rappers. Some of these young men want to be doctors. Some of these young men want to go on to be lawyers. Some of these young men haven't discovered what their path is, but you're there to help them down that path and understand what's going on.
It's that relationship and it's that bond that we build with them that I think is really genuinely what they're looking for. They're looking for adults that they can connect with, adults that can make them feel like the decisions and the choices that they're making are the right ones, adults who can be role models for them. And so I think that for the most part is one of the most valuable things that they get.
To be able to make it out of some situations that some of these young men are in, it may seem impossible at the moment, but to know that they are going to do that, and when they do, they'll be able to come back and help somebody else make it out of their situation and help somebody else grow to be a better person.
I lived in a single parent household that, was always a struggle, but I was always driven to succeed. And so I went to college and graduated from Framingham State University, and I wanted to give back to my surrounding communities.
I went from the Boys and Girls Clubs to the YMCA to the Martin Luther King Center. And I grew up in youth programs, and it had a major effect on just the young man I became. Because as a young man growing up, especially in this city, it's easy to fall into the wrong influences. But being allowed to be a part of youth programs and always having a place to go and always having a positive role model available definitely shaped my life in the path I ended up taking.
Born in Plainfield, I grew up on Bancroft Street in the North End. I have my education from the University of Massachusetts, and so it was important for me to come back and work in the community that I grew up in, mainly because it's important to show the young people in the community that they can be more than they might think. And so we're a really close and tight-knit community, and so sometimes it's hard to see what the world has to offer at large, and so I think it's important for people to come back.
What I hope for the young men of Springfield is that they get a chance to do what I did. They get a chance to learn from somebody that is a little bit wiser than them, still figuring things out, but is always going to have their best interests at hand. And that they get to grow from that and come back and share that with somebody else.
Programs like YM2 and YAIM, they're important programs. They're educational, and education really is the key to helping our young people succeed. And so funding is always an obstacle for programs like this, and there generally aren't enough programs of this type in order to meet all of the needs of the children in our community. So when we don't have funding, or we lose funding, or funding dries up, or we have to go to different sources, it's always a struggle to sort of manage the things that we're doing now. And so and it's always important to grow those things and not necessarily shrink them. There is an impact. Programs like this create real and lasting impacts on the lives of the people that we touch.
In middle school and high school, we may think we know what's right, but we need some guidance. And this is all the guidance that some of these young men have. And it's amazing to be a part of that.